Dear friends, welcome to another episode today on Frontline. In this video, we will talk about one of the boldest missions of recent times and the unit that carried it out. In the early hours of this Saturday, January 3rd, 2026, the world woke up to images that until then seemed unthinkable. Explosions, airplanes, and helicopters flying low over Caracas, the capital of Venezuela, and the United States capturing the dictator Nicolás Maduro and taking him to New York to face charges related to narco-terrorism. And at the center of all this action appears a name that almost always comes accompanied by silence, secrecy, and mythology. I am referring to Delta Force. But before we move forward, it is necessary to make one point clear. Many tactical details of what happened in the early hours of that Saturday remain unknown. And that is, in fact, part of the very DNA of this type of unit and this type of mission. But based on what we already know, it is possible to understand how the action unfolded in terms of operational architecture, integration between forces, control of airspace, electronic warfare, intelligence, and speed. But starting with the basics, what is Delta Force? Delta Force is a direct product of a strategic anxiety that took hold of the United States beginning in the 1970s, in an era marked by international terrorism, hijackings, and hostage crises around the world. The inspiration came from the British model, with Colonel Charles Beckwith, after serving alongside the British SAS, advocating the creation of an American unit with the same philosophy. That is, brutally rigorous selection, small teams, autonomy, and a focus on counterterrorism and hostage rescue. The idea was approved in 1975, and the unit was formally established in 1977 by Beckwith and Colonel Thomas Henry. Delta was born at the end of the 1970s, but the major turning point in the culture of U.S. special operations came in 1980 with the failed attempt to rescue hostages in Iran during Operation Eagle Claw. The legacy of that failure was not just embarrassment. It was a complete structural reform, accelerating the realization that the United States needed better joint planning, real integration between forces, unified command, and standardized training for complex operations. All of this deeply affected Delta Force throughout the 1980s, helping to shape it into what it is today. Its internal structure, such as the number of members and detailed organizational charts, is largely classified, but we know that it is composed of units that complement each other, with elements dedicated to the assault itself, reconnaissance and support elements, and a heavy block of specialized support, including communications, intelligence, tactical medicine, and capabilities to deal with doors, barriers, and specific threats, always with integration with Special Operations Aviation. And this is where another mythical unit comes in, the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, better known as the Night Stalkers, a unit dedicated to the mission of providing helicopter aviation support to the Special Forces units of the United States Army, including, of course, Delta Force. And how is all of this used in Caracas? According to U.S. authorities, the mission was named Operation Absolute Resolve. The operation involved months of planning and integration with intelligence agencies. And here comes a decisive component: control of the informational environment. Sources close to the operation revealed that for months American agents followed Maduro's routine step-by-step, with full-scale models of the location where he was staying being built to train the assault team, similar to what was done for the capture of Osama bin Laden. During the operation itself, measures were also taken that reveal the presence of agents operating inside Venezuela, such as power outages in the targeted areas of Caracas. In aviation terms, more than 150 aircraft were employed, departing from 20 different bases, including bombers, fifth-generation fighter jets, airborne early warning aircraft, electronic warfare platforms, and, of course, the Night Stalkers helicopters, responsible for the insertion and extraction of the American Special Operations Force. But before the helicopters advanced, electronic warfare took action, with the 18G Growlers blinding radars and interfering with Venezuelan communications. This is, in fact, an essential element of Delta Force operations, which involves ensuring that the adversary cannot see, track, or deter the force. The insertion force entered using an extremely low-altitude flight profile over the sea, precisely to reduce detection, then proceeded through valleys and around the mountains that surround Caracas. Images revealed helicopters such as the MH-47 Chinook and MH-60 Black Hawk, in addition to attack helicopters, most likely the Marines' AH-1Z Viper. A selection of targets was struck to paralyze reaction and prevent coordination, such as Fort Tayuna, La Carlota Air Base, and the port of La Guaira. All of this was intended to neutralize Venezuela's ability to organize a coherent response within the critical window of action. According to the information released, there was an exchange of fire and one helicopter was reportedly hit, but it remained operational, with President Trump stating that there were no American fatalities, although there were likely injuries. After the capture, the extraction followed a classic high-value target mission pattern, with the target being quickly removed from enemy territory and taken to a U.S. ship offshore, the SS Iwo Jima, before being transported to the United States. So then, how did Delta Force effectively manage to achieve this so quickly and with such operational success? The success was achieved not by Delta Force alone, but thanks to an entire ecosystem which, as mentioned here, involves multiple agencies and specialized units, each with a very specific mission that must be carried out to ensure the success of the main objective. From this comes the combination of disabling air defenses through electronic warfare, degrading power and communications, and attacking specific military nodes, all of which create a momentary vacuum in which the assault force can move with greater freedom and security. An operation like this is designed to be short, but President Trump said that a second wave was ready in case the situation spiraled out of control. Regarding extraction, by taking the target to a ship and only later transferring him to the American mainland, you reduce the chance of interception precisely in the most critical segment. Even with all of this, the press itself emphasizes that much remains unknown about the exact moment of the capture, whether there was internal collaboration, and how the final location was obtained. And it is precisely this that sustains the aura of Delta Force. You see the final effect, but the fine mechanisms, routes, identities, methods, everything remains secret. Militarily, the operation clearly demonstrated one thing. When the United States decides to employ a complete package involving advanced fifth-generation fighters, electronic warfare, cyber attacks, espionage, special operations forces, and maritime extraction, it can open a window of action in heavily defended hostile territory that, although brief, lasts long enough to accomplish the mission. But it is always important to remember that Delta Force is not a hammer acting independently. It is the most visible tip of an intricate and complex system designed to render an adversary slow, blind, and disorganized for a few minutes, and to leave before he regains his senses.